whenever you will create a job, let's say, uh, for example, let's say you are leaving the organization and you are the head of benefits. So now we are going to create a job rec for head of benefits, let's say. So it will be created in HR supervisory. Why? Because you are actually reporting to the head of HR, so you will be hired under HR. But if any of your team member is leaving, or maybe you are having a new job rack in your department, then this you will create the job rack in benefit supervisory, not in HR. Benefit supervisory is actually part of HR, but actual person is we have requisition in benefits supervisory. I can show you that as well. Just give me 1 minute. So you see, Jill Jones, she is senior vice president. She will be part of a certain. Just give, so Jill Jones is senior vice president, and if we, so you see, she is actually part of operations and administration supervisory. So now if we see, operations and administration supervisory is, you can say, one supervisory, and then there are these different subordinates, and human resource is one of the subordinate supervisors. You can just um, take it as like understand it in a way that these are subunits of operations and administration. So this is a hierarchy. Let's say the company decided to create a new unit or new department, so we can create that from here. Create subordinate. So create subordinate means we are creating a new supervisory organization under operations. If the open position is in main operations and administration supervisory, it will be created here. So you see, there is a job requisition created in this supervisory. So uh, it can be both ways, whether you can even create a new supervisory, or you can hire a person or create a job rec in already existed supervisory as well. It all depends on your uh, like on your structure and what your requirement is. So sometimes you might have to create supervisory organization, sometimes you don't have to if it's already there. Supervise A company can also be a supervisory organization. Head of the
Okay.
department can belong to that supervisory organization. You can say there are, if you see, so we when we checked Jill Jones. Jill Jones is her name, right? So Jill Jones is senior vice president, and she is part of operations and administration supervisory. If I go one level up, so that is office of the president supervisor. It's just the name that they have given. And if I will go further up, then it's Alma University. So this is the top level supervisory. So this is the name of the organization, and now the
Mm-hmm.
subordinate supervisory is office of the president, and then we have all these. So it all depends. It can be a company, it can be a division, it can be a department, and you can create in different ways. The simple option is that you can uh, go and create supervisory organization. This is one way of doing it. If you want to create a supervisory organization in an existing structure, you can create directly from there as well. Or what you can do, for example, you create it from here, and then you can link it to another supervisory. So for example, let's say let me quickly, I created it for um, what was the name? So let's say I created a supervisory, and then I can assign, like I can make it part of existing structure as well by reorganization option. So I created supervisory organization. I'll go to that supervisory organization and let's say I'll go to reorg option. I can either create subordinate or assign a superior to that supervisory. So let's say I want that this academic affairs supervisory should be linked to directly to this one. So I'll skip this supervisory and make it part of directly of alma mater university. So that's how we can define the structure or the hierarchy. So today I'm going to like we are going to continue with that same discussion. What we'll do is we are going to learn about like go a little deeper in the core connector thing, and then we are going to check the document transformation process. I'll tell you why that document transformation process is important and where it is used actually. So our today's module is core connectors and document transformation. So the agenda is that we'll see integration business process, its security, and then document transformation connector. So um, Workday supports integration specific business process. So we have already learned about business process. I mentioned in previous sessions as well that uh, b- business process actually whatever processes are being executed in Workday, these all are through a predefined or pre-configured business process. For example, job requisition process, there are certain steps that are defined in that process, and the process will run following those steps that we have defined at backend. Whether it's a promotion, whether it's a compensation change, whether it's transfer, whether it's hire, whether it's termination, each and every process is each and every process is actually governed by how we have defined it at backend. What approval mechanism we have defined, who we like who are the people who can approve or initiate the request. This is all we have defined at backend. So similarly, integration business process, generally what happens whether we are using co-connectors or we are developing any like any inbound or outbound integration, even if report based integration, there is a process that we define and we link those integration with the business process. um, Sometimes it's simple like execution of that process where we for example, I created an EIB and then I schedule it, and it will just the system will just push on the defined interval. So that's one way. But other than that, if we go for integrations, let's say connector based integration, co-connectors if we are using, then we use a combination of business process, integration process, as well as document transformation. So today we are going to learn that how we actually where this document transformation part comes in, and how we use it in a combination. So generally, as yesterday Vishal was also telling, so let's say um, you have you have your employees details in Workday, and you want to push that data, for example, to any payroll system. That could be one example. You can also push it to let's say um, um, any insurance vendor. Let's say you have like in US we have like Cobra or Aetna, these are insurance provider, and your company has a certain certain agreement with that insurance company that your employees will get these benefits. So let's say, let's get into a little bit more detail. Let's say um, you have registered with Aetna, for example, and you have an agreement with Aetna that uh, all your employees who will get registered with Aetna will get these benefits. So let's say, let's just consider some specifications. So for example, let's say it's agreed between the company and the insurance provider that all employees will get uh, for example, 5 lakh coverage on on an yearly basis. This can cover hospitalization, this can cover like, which we already call IPD, inpatient, or we can add a certain add certain other specs as well. So this is predefined, and then we also had this commitment from the company that along with employees, their dependents will be covered. Then maybe there is a pre-agreement that dependents, spouse will be covered, but the children who are minors will be covered, and they'll be covered, and their yearly limits will be this much. For example, a little less than what employees are getting, and there'll be their dental coverage will be there, their accidental coverage will be there. So these are the different specs that we have uh, pre-agreed with the insurance company. Now what we are trying to do here, that we are actually integrating this our system with their system. So what we'll do, we have this we'll define this integration, that whenever we are and like we are adding a new person, new employee in the system, uh, we want that he or she will automatically get registered with Aetna, for example. So we'll be using core connectors that are already available for Aetna. We'll configure those connectors, and then we'll add the details, and then it will automatically get synced with that um, insurance company system. We can define that, for example, we want that data to be pushed every week, let's say. So, or maybe we want it to be like pushed every day, maybe, depending on how frequent we want. So we are basically creating a connectivity between these two systems. And of course, some of these, like for Aetna, connectors are already available. So we are just going to create the integration system. We are going to create define the attributes there, and then we'll use it. Now, generally speaking, so that's one example. Generally speaking, sometimes the data is uh, when we are, let's say it's an outbound integration, and we have a data in a specific format in the system in Workday, and we want to push that data to an external system. um, let's say Workday has a data in XML format, and the destination system is needs that data in a different format. Now this when we have to convert this XML into another format, which means we need some document transformation process, so that this format can be transformed into the other format that is understandable by the destination system. This is basically uh, the function of that. So we are going to um, like create an integration system. We'll see the integration system business process as well, and then we'll see how we can use all these in combination. So generally, sometimes it also happens that let's say there is an event that we are creating, or there is a process that we are creating, and then that process is actually triggering an integration. So let's say, for example, I'll just quickly give another example. Let's say I think I gave it earlier as well. So I have a door access system through which attendance is recorded for all employees. Now that is installed on my door, office door, and anybody who wants to enter into office either need to punch the card or provide a thumb impression. Now, in either way, there is a software associated at the back end that is recording time in and out. So when I'm entering in the office, the system is recording the time. Now, it is happening on a daily basis. Whenever I'm going in and out, system is recording that timing. Now that door access system and its software is a third party application, a different application. In this particular case, now what I am actually looking for, that I will get a file from this door access system, and that file will be pushed to uh, my Workday. Now, I might be creating a middle way where, like, I am pushing that door access file to a file server from where Workday is picking that file. So this process requires certain triggers, services, integration. So this is, we are combining all these things, and what we are doing, we are actually taking the data from that system and pushing it into Workday. So the process is initiated and we use certain services to execute that process. So this is what we this is why we use that. So today we are going to take a look of integration system as well, and then we'll also see that the document transformation process. So another example, for example, it could be social security number, let's say. So we want to check like social security number, but depending on whatever we want to use, we will there are already templates available and we'll use that. So let's say, and I'm using, for example, social security connector. So social security number verification connector, I am creating it. Now it's going to tell me to define the attribute, or so it, we have not defined the attributes here. So we'll go here and integration attributes. I have to define the document retention policy. So which means that once this integration will will run, I want that this for X number of days the output should be available for view. Maximum is 180, but if I want to keep it lower, I can keep that as well. So let's say I'm keeping it for 10 days. Now I have uh, created that template. Now generally if I want to, for example, also define, like, let's say I want to create any like define any sequence generators. And what is sequence generator going to do? So sequence generator is basically going to assign numbers. So let's say if I am running the same integration 10 times in a day, what sequence I would want. So that is sequence generator that let's say, and let's try that. So how I want that sequence to be generated, uh, what should be the format, what should be the frequency, how should the, by what number it should increase. So these all are the things that I am defining. I can even give it a specific format as well. That can be, let's say, its social security number. It's, I can give it some other format as well. It depends what I want, and which is easy for me to understand when I am generating, like running these integrations. So uh, this is the purpose of sequence generator. Now the second thing is, let's also um, try another one. So basically I was trying to open an integration. I'm just missing the name of the task. So we can configure the integration process event. Before you can create an integration, your tenant must have a default definition for integration process event. So business object, so this is a default one. We can, generally speaking, and we have been talking about it, that whether it's a report, it's a business process, or it's an integration business process, Workday has always delivered a, like a standard one, and we can use it as a starting point, and then we can um, like uh, edit it as per our uh, requirement. So before we go into that, I would like to show you this specific process, and if we try to understand that what it's doing. So it's the same thing, that the process is getting initiated, then the service is running, and then the process is getting completed. This is the simplest one, but it can be very complex. There can be different conditions in the process. If we want to run and check different conditions, we can have additional process added over here. So let's say if I open this one, which is already created. So if I'm going to check, and if we see that, so over here you see the process is getting initiated, and then there is a check that has been defined. uh, Retrieval service, so configured retrieval service, it's actually getting checked. If it's like if it's the test is passed, it's going to move to the service. If not, then it will uh, go and check another service. So there might be another service linked here. So the point of explaining here is that it depends that what steps are actually defined in that integration process. We at times define the process, a simple business process, and in that business process we can add an integration as well. So it it actually goes with the combination that what we are actually looking for. Now similarly, uh, we let's just integration, create integration system, and let's say, so over here I am using documentation transformation. Now over here, what it's telling me that the integration system uses a document attachment service which is not fully configured. Before initiating the event, you need to configure the attachment service using the configure integration attachment service. So we are going to create integration attachment service, and over here we are going to define uh, the integration attachment service. So let's say I am using this XML one which is already there in the system. Now I have basically defined that this uh, that I want to use this document means there is a certain format that was given in that document, and I have selected that I have to use XML file, and now I am going to transform it to some other some other format. So integration service, now we need to configure the integration services. So what I did, it's simple as that. Let's say for example we we create uh, we create, let's say, a Word file, and then let's say we have to deliver it in PDF, for example. Now uh, we want to transform one format to another format, and because for a minute, let's take it this way, that uh, this uh, the source format is different, and the format that the other application will accept is different. So I have to convert that format, and I want it to be delivered via service. So I can do that using this integration system. And one more thing is, now I I am, let's say, associating a specific file with that integration. I can attach the file. I can click any file from the system. The thing that I need to understand here is that at this point, Workday is not validating that which format I am attaching. So it's my responsibility to check that I am attaching the file with the correct format. I'll do that, and then I'll define the sequence, for example, so that the document transformation connector is will grab the file and then will run the integration. I will also uh, so a couple of things to understand here. First of all, uh, there are, we talked about it in last week's session as well, that there are uh, integrate, there are different ways to for integration. The one is there is a report based integration where we talk about RAS, our report as a service. Then there is uh, like integration based on core connectors, and in core connectors we talked about that there are already built in templates delivered by Workday, and we are basically using the one of these. So document transformation, uh, e-verification, social security number, um, and a lot of these core connectors are already pre-built and available in the system. And what we need to do is we just need to uh, configure it, define the attributes, and run that. What we need to do is to basically add it in the business process, and we have to define that what we are actually looking for. Generally speaking, whenever you get this sort of integration requirement, you will get a process flow, that what's the requirement, and based on that you decide and you design this process. So you get the requirement from the customer, that let's say if they want to develop, if a customer wants to develop an integration with, let's say, Etna, as I mentioned. So there will be a certain business process defined, let's say higher business process, and during the higher business process we are entering the family details, for example. So that uh, that once that is entered, so that's a normal business process, and then that process will trigger the integration that we will uh, we'll define the attributes, that let's say the one that we discussed yesterday as well, that there is a male, there is a female, this will be the age group, for example, this will be the code to identify that this is a dependent or whether it's uh, an actual employee. So those sort of things we define there. Then we um enable the sequence generator so that we know that, let's say if I'm running that file multiple times in a day or maybe multiple times in a week, I can identify that which file, like the sequence can help me in identifying that, uh, and then I'll link it with the business process, I'll define that, and then I'll launch that integration. So there is one more thing. So Workday provides several security domains that secure your users access to integration templates and integration system. Now you just saw that I used uh, Jill Jones ID. If I go, so this user actually has access to this integration, and over here we are talking about security. Now if let's say, let me, just, so it's not working for some reason. uh, it is unavailable temporarily. Anyways, let's just continue with the slides then. uh, so Workday have like Workday provides certain security domains that actually enable, uh, you can say enable or disable user to use integration templates and systems. So it means that, for example, if I have an employee rights only, I'm not a manager, I'm not an admin or HR power user, then I will not have access to integration templates and integration systems. These domains separate the permissions needed to configure an integration from the permissions needed to run an integration templates and system, and then grant access separately for each segment. So that's the same security thing that we talked about. So it's very uh, it's mandatory that you have uh, that specific security access in order to be able to access to these integration templates and systems. Security for access to integration template. The following table lists integration related security domains and what permission are granted for each domain. So if someone has an access to integration build, which means he or she can create or edit an integrated system or EIB or deploy a Workday Studio integration. We are not going to like touch on the Workday Studio. It's a different tool. It's also used to for creating the integrations. but it's, you can say it requires some programming as well. Then the domain of integration configuration. So we can configure integration services, we can configure EIBs. So this is overall, it's telling that which domain will actually provide access to which functionalities. So uh, access to Workday data. All access to Workday data is done through web service operations and report as a service. These web service operations, report data sources, fields, custom reports are secured to various security domains. Cloud Connect and Studio integrations require an integration system user account for authentication and access to web services link. So even we are creating, for example, report or we want to create calculated fields, there is a specific access that a user needs in order to be able to uh, create a report or create calculated fields. And why is that? Because it's not allowed for each and every user to do it. There should be some specific people having some specialized access rights who can perform these things. So we can create integration system group, uh, like we can create a group task and then uh, assign the rights. So integration user, and by the way, integration user is not a person based user. You can create a user and then you can add different people in that group. So integration system user means that we are actually allowing, we are giving the access of integration system user task, and that can and we can then add people in that group so that they can create or add it or configure integration systems. uh, Workday connector integrations use underlying web service operations. The web service operations get data from Workday that is included on outbound integration, put data received from inbound integration into Workday. So as we talked about it, that there are two types of integration, inbound and outbound. So these web services actually allow to get or put the data depending on whether it's an inbound or an outbound integration. Verify that the security group used by the application user account has put and get access to the domain where the web service tasks are secured. So uh, it's simple as that. Let's say I am a we can simply take it as that if I have reached, or I my age is 18 or above, then I secure or I have a driving license, then I can drive. So you can simply consider it the same way, that you should have the license, the access to a specific functionality. In that case, you will be able to run these to use these web services and use this integration system. So uh, application system user account should have access to put and get to the domain where web service tasks are secured. So for custom integrations, developers can give us a list of tasks that are used by uh, the integrations. So these are the activities that we can like we need to try and try on the system. So again, these are all the names of tasks. You can simply go to the search option, type the task, and then try doing that. And then this is the document transformation connector that I was trying. So we are going to follow those same steps that we'll go to create integration system tasks, and from there we select document transformation templates. So and what happens when we select the document transformation template, it actually provides us the access to Workday specific these ETV and XTT form processing. The ultimate objective of document transformation is to transform the output of an integration or the input of an integration. So we are using we use document transformation service to for the conversion of the input or the output, whether we are moving the data from Workday to another application or vice versa, which means that we may uh, bring the data from another application to Workday, and that's why we use document transformation connector. By leveraging the Workday and why using document transformation is beneficial, by leveraging the Workday specific processing instructions, functionality that would require complete X path expression is now much simpler. In comparison to a tool such as Workday Studio, document transformation removes the need for maintaining documents descriptions. So Workday Studio is a IDE based tool. Has a development environment in it, integrated development environment, and using that tool we can actually create integrations, and in that same tool we actually define that uh, this how that process will run, what service to get, what service to what transformation to happen. But over here we are doing that through document transformation connector. Before setting up a documentation transformation integration system, you must create an integration system that I was just doing, that will generate the file to be transformed, or have an external system that is generating an incoming file. So before we, of course, if we are targeting to transform a document, first of all that document should exist. Secondly, that integration system should exist which will generate the file. Then we'll identify that what format is actually required of the transform file, and then we create a file uh, from the file format to the file required by the file recipient. So we should know that what is the file of what is the format of the file, and in which format that we actually need. So based on that we'll define. To create a document transformation integration system, access the create integration system task, and from the new using template prompt selection integration document transformation. Then we'll create a document uh, and we'll attach the document. Once added, then you can edit the attachment by using the task added integration service attachment. So for example, if we have attached a specific file in the integration document transformation integration, we can edit it later on using the edit task. So this is a workflow that how when we use a document transformation, what happens. So let's say this is a Workday connector and the file is in XML format, and the document will be transformed to XSLT, and it will be pushed to this specific location. And this is what the purpose is, that uh, we have a connector, and this connector will have these all things, like there will be a service, there will be attributes defined. We'll do the mapping that we did for example yesterday, where we defined that for male we want M, for female we want F, for if it's not mentioned then we want U for undisclosed, for example. And then there is a business process defined, so these are the steps that are defined. So this core connector, what it's doing, it's taking the format, the output format, transforming it into another format, and then putting that transformed output to a specific location. Again, that's just an example. It all depends that how we want that output to be delivered. In this particular case, we are putting it to a specific file server, for example. Changing outbound connectors with document transformation. So uh, when the integration system is launched, steps 1 and 2 of the business process are executed. Step 3 execute, which calls the second integration system. Again, so this is these are the steps that we are talking about, the steps in the business process. So finally, once step 3 returns that has completed, step 4 kicks in to deliver the final transformed output to the defined endpoint. In this particular case, this is the defined endpoint. It can be something else as well. It can be any other application as well. Over here, we are defining a specific location. Element transformation and validation and XML to text enable you to add Workday specific processing instruction to an XSLT files element using attributes. There are different ways to transform depending, and we can of course we can define different attributes, we can give different instruction based on the requirement. That let's say there is one format, you want it to process to a different format, you can define it while configuring the transformation integration. So these are some of the examples of formatting, that there are different attributes or the categorization of different attributes. So we can define that, let's say this transformation, the data should be transformed in this specific formatting, in this comma separated value, in date and time format. We are doing the mapping, we may group attributes, so we can define the length of the formatting, that the length of this specific field should not exceed to from XYZ number. We can add a validation criteria. So depending on different options or different requirements, we have these different transformation options. Then there is two-stage transformation process. So two-stage means that we are actually breaking, or we are actually bifurcating the output. So that is also possible, that we there is an original input, and then we are actually transforming it into two different formats. That could be maybe we want it to be delivered to two different systems, maybe and both systems have understand different formats. So we are actually transforming that same or input to two different formats. So that again we'll have to define it in the process, that we want it to be bifurcated and to be delivered to specific formats. This is these are some specific requirements of the transform. This is just an example. Let's say field name. So there is employee ID is one field. We have defined the fixed length. We have defined the criteria that whether it's a required field or not, and if we want a warning to be displayed. So again, for against each field name, we have defined the length, and we have specified the requirement. Again, this is an example of transformed output that we have. So you see this for gender, we did that, we defined that those mapping, and based on that, this is so this has picked certain values. This is showing the marital status and then the location. So we have just defined, and again you see that they over here as well there is a specific date time format. So this is what we have defined there in the transformation process. The XML to text step supports instructions that convert XML documents to text. It converts document from XML to text format such as comma separated value, fixed width, or other text format. Fixed length formatting. So again, the attributes allow fixed length format documents to be created. The fixed length of each element is specified using the fixed length attribute. Values shorter than the fixed length will be padded using the padded character attribute value. Values that are longer than the fixed length will be truncated. Again, we'll get the warning against those. And these are again different uh, uh, like attributes option, um, fixed length, align, how you can align left or right, how you can fix the length, how what happened if the length is shorter. So these are different attributes. Workday provides a variety of attributes to apply validation rules to the content of the element. They are attached to indicate if an element is required and what severity of message to return into the integration event. So depending on, we can add a validation criteria depending on what criteria, what attributes we are defining, what validation rules we are defining there. That for example, let's say if the value of a specific field is should have this specific format, and if it's that validation is not passing, means the information is not available in the correct format, then the process might not go further. So depending on the definition of attributes, it will move the process further. Again, that truncation, so truncation process is giving that alert warning, and whether it should report or not. It can be, we can also even categorize it as like critical error, warning, or information. So this is like whole document transformation process. The idea is that we understand what format Workday understand, what format other application understands, and then based on that we basically connect the document transformation thing with actual uh, integration. So we are using the connector to convert the format. So that's for today's session.